what would you do if every student responded to your emails? So on our campus, that is a challenge, and it maybe, I don't know if it's a generational thing, but us finding ways to effectively communicate messaging to students and getting them to respond to our outreach. So we're using the ART. We've now incorporated using the EAB or Navigate app to do notifications with the students. And we're searching for a text messaging component as well, or even an AI component. But what would that look like if every student responded to your email or your communication efforts? How would that feel?
So I'll jump in. A couple of things come to mind. In my humble opinion, students don't come to HBCUs to engage with a bot, right? Students don't come to HBCUs to only communicate through these kind of mass emails that are sent out. So I think while the technology can help us scale the work we're doing, it really can't replace the power of a conversation with Dean Neely, right? It can't replace, the power of a conversation with, with Judetta there from Talladega. So good to see you. I've heard a lot about you. There has to be a way that we can use the technology to amplify the kind of high impact moments that we create with students. And I actually find that through the bot, because we've adopted at Benedict College a number of kind of text platforms and AI, I find that students start playing with the bot, right? Asking silly questions. And because I think culturally, there is a digital distrust that we haven't quite talked about as much as we need to, right? And when you're dealing with low wealth populations, first gen populations, this issue of technology and trusting my information to be out there, this is generational. I mean, I have students who don't have bank accounts. Right. Because their parents didn't have accounts. So I have students literally, I'm sending money out in emergency aid through CARES Act funding, and students are requesting checks to go to Ace Check Cashing, around the corner and give a really high percentage of their funds away because they don't have bank accounts. There's got to be a way that we can talk about what that digital distrust looks like and how we work to break that down, because if not, right, students will not be prepared to be competitive and do well in college or beyond. And so I just think there's a shifting that needs to happen. And when we talk about who's showing up at our institutions, we have to unpack with them, right, all of those challenges that get in the way of, progress. And so, I think that the technology is helpful, and certainly, like I said, it helps us to scale, but we really have to work that in tandem with some high impact people who are creating the kind of communication moments that we know will last in a different way and resonate with students in a different way, more than, a text platform through, Cadence or something like that. Just my thought.
No, that's really good insight. I think as we've in our office tried to do outreach with students, if I send them an email, they respond. If I ask someone else to send it or send it through our office's email, right, they don't respond. They'll say, I don't know who that was. I didn't understand that. I just ignored it. Oh, but Dr. Blash, you sent me something. Right. I trust that. So that digital distrust is a real thing. It is a real thing.
Or the reply, do not reply to this message, right? I mean, immediately that cuts off communication. And then, the student starts to feel like the ID number. So how do we build relationships with students where we acknowledge them beyond, the ID number on the list?
Yeah. And I think we can probably all agree that this pandemic obviously has exacerbated this, because we have second year students that we've never met in person. And they are now on campus. We have some second year students who did come to campus for a period of time, but they've not had this high touch. Quite frankly, we have juniors who were here for a short period of time. And so the culture that we've all historically developed with our students, because HBCUs do tend to have a high touch and I will call you if I don't see you in class on a particular day. To some degree, we're having to reconsider how do we connect with students. And I'm not certain how many of you are actually seeing students in your offices. So that would be kind of interesting to know as well, as we're talking about how do you collaborate and build relationships and sustain those relationships so that if someone else from Dr. Blash's office emails a student, that student responds. So it's the communication piece is really difficult, particularly when we're talking about students who've been placed on probation and you've sent a communication, they've not responded, but they've shown up on the first day of classes. And so curious to how other folk are managing those sorts of things as well. And even who's on your team, who are you collaborating with? So certainly interested in hearing other people's perspectives.
I'll chime in. I work at Dillon University. So with the University College, we work with like the first year students with their transition and everything. So with us, we have like a more personal interaction with our students because also we do the academic advising, but also we are the first year seminar teachers. So like if a student is having trouble with anything like with like a certain class or anything, just having like their conversation. Sometimes students come to us after class. But with our team, we all like housed in the same area for the University College. So they basically get to know all of us because it's like 4 or 5 of us. So like they have a lot of times like the students might come after class or something after office hours just to have a conversation with us. But with our team, we are new. So we had walked into a situation where the old team quit and we had just walked in literally like August trying to figure out what was going on. Since I did retention. One of the things like the first thing with the unlimited resources at Gillard, we have a low male population. So it's like 75% female and 25% male. And like with the communication part, we are starting to see like more male students like coming from their freshman year stay at Dillard because they have that more interaction, that more personal connection with the University College. But one thing with the ultimate resources, if I can do something different, I'll actually build like a like a Black Male Excellence Center on campus and have like different resources for the male students because I know personally for me, when I was an undergrad, because I had went to PWI, we did have that safe space for the male students to well, if we had any concerns or questions about academics or just like anything dealing with like homework or like in some cases they would have like people who from the fraternities and things like that or who were alum from the school who were Black, they would come and interact with us. They would give us job opportunities, things like that. So what I found my last 2 months working there at Dillard, I found there's like a disconnect between that first year transition from going from freshman year to their second year, because their second semester and sophomore year, we see a big old drop in retention because a lot of the male students feel like there's no safe space for them, even though they're at HBCU.
Wow. I hope you attended the session earlier today.
Oh yeah, I had attended the session. So like a lot of things like the studies they was talking about, I kind of identify with me being a Black male, but also like I know like my first week, a lot of students was like trying to define what the HBCU experience is, because like with Dillard, we are like a small college in New Orleans, like a smaller HBCU in New Orleans. So like they're looking at places like the Howards and like the Clarks and all that, trying to compare their what their experience should be. And a lot of people who've been complaining about like what they feel like the HBCU experience should be has been like a lot of male students, because some of their friends might do go to a college like Morehouse and they're comparing their experience to their their friends. And since like we have such a low population of male students, it's all about how do we retain them, but also how do we build a communication plan to recruit more male students.
Awesome. Well, Corey, I'm just going to tell you to keep your head up. I am a Dillard family. I went to Dillard, so I can attest to the strong community sense on that campus. And so I would just ask you to tap into that strength in your efforts to support your students.